at 3:47 a.m. on October 8, 2025.
Ukraine says it destroyed one of Russia's most advanced stealth fighter jets in a drone strike deep inside Russia on Sunday.
The night sky over western Russia exploded in light as a massive fireball tore through the clouds above Belgorod. The blast was so powerful that windows shattered in nearby villages.
Su-57 fighter jet at the airbase in Russia's Astrakhan region.
People rushed out of their homes, terrified, thinking Ukraine had struck again. But this wasn't an enemy attack. It was something far worse, something Russia never expected.
Которое примет большинство жителей Донецкой и Луганской народных республик.
One of their own top-secret fighter jets, the Su-57M Ghost variant, had just been shot down by their own air defense system. A tragic mistake that revealed a terrifying truth about the chaos, fear, and failure inside Russia's military command. The Su-57M Ghost wasn't just another jet. It was the pride of Russia's Air Force.
Moscow received its first Su-57 fighter jet in 2020 and added more than 10 new planes to its fleet last year.
A fifth-generation stealth fighter built to rival America's F-22 Raptor. Only 3 prototypes existed, each one worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That night, Major Sergei Andropov, one of Russia's best test pilots, was returning from a classified stealth mission near the Ukrainian border. The mission had gone perfectly, until the moment everything went wrong. As Andropov guided the jet home under radio silence, somewhere below, a nervous group of radar operators mistook him for an incoming missile. The situation on the ground was tense. Just days before, Ukraine had launched drone and missile strikes deep inside Russian territory. Oil depots, command posts, even air bases had been hit. Russian military leaders were furious and paranoid. They ordered every air defense unit to stay on maximum alert. The rule was simple: shoot first, verify later. No mistakes, no hesitation. That command, meant to show strength, would become the reason for disaster. At an S-400 air defense station near Belgorod, radar screens glowed in the dark. The operators were exhausted, scanning for incoming threats, when suddenly a new target appeared, fast, low, silent. It didn't respond to any identification system. The operator's heart raced. He reported, "Unidentified target approaching, range 60 kilometers." Static filled the radio as communication with headquarters dropped for a few seconds. The supervisor, under immense pressure, made the fatal call. "Engage target. Fire now." Within moments, a missile launched into the sky, slicing through the cold night air at 6 times the speed of sound. It was heading straight for Major Andropov's plane. Inside the cockpit, Andropov's radar warning system screamed. He didn't believe it at first. No Ukrainian missile could have locked onto him that deep inside Russia. "Command, confirm, am I under attack?" he shouted into the radio. But there was only silence. Then, just seconds later, the missile struck. A bright flash lit up the sky as the Ghost exploded into flames, breaking apart before crashing into a forest below. His last transmission, captured in the black box, was chillingly calm. "Command, I think they locked on us. Tell my wife I tried." Then, nothing. The radar operators stared at their screens in horror. They had done exactly what they were ordered to do. They fired fast. They eliminated the target, but the target wasn't the enemy. It was one of their own. Within minutes, military command realized what had happened. But instead of telling the truth, they rushed to hide it. The area was sealed off, and soldiers confiscated all mobile phones. Official state news released a short statement, claiming that a training aircraft had crashed due to technical malfunction. But satellite data told another story. Western analysts immediately detected the S-400 launch plume at the exact time the jet disappeared. Ukrainian intelligence confirmed intercepted radio chatter from Russian forces, revealing panic and confusion. The secret was out. Russia had accidentally shot down its own stealth jet. International media exploded with headlines. NATO officials quietly mocked the blunder. One U.S. defense source told reporters if they're shooting down their own stealth fighters, that says more about their coordination than Ukraine's weapons. Meanwhile, Ukrainian social media lit up with jokes and memes. Hashtags like #GhostDown and #FriendlyFire trended for days. Inside Russia, chaos erupted behind closed doors. At 6 that morning, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu held an emergency meeting with Air Force commanders. They couldn't believe it. Their best technology, their most advanced jet, destroyed by their own men. Documents later leaked online showed how desperate officials were to cover it up. The truth was humiliating. Russia's own systems couldn't tell friend from foe. The investigation revealed 3 fatal failures. First, the Su-57M stealth system had disabled its radar transponder to remain undetected, meaning air defense systems couldn't identify it as friendly. Second, the S-400 software hadn't been updated properly, causing it to misread the jet's radar signature as a cruise missile. And third, the operators were terrified of punishment if they hesitated, so they fired immediately. It was a perfect storm of fear, error, and incompetence. By sunrise, rescue teams reached the crash site. All they found were twisted metal fragments and charred debris scattered across a frozen forest. The pilot didn't survive. The wreckage was classified, and local villagers were told to stay silent. You didn't see anything, soldiers warned them, but photos leaked online anyway. Images showing burned jet pieces marked with the Su-57M serial code. Analysts confirmed what Moscow tried to deny. One of Russia's most advanced warplanes had been destroyed by Russian hands. The aftermath was devastating. The Kremlin immediately suspended all stealth test flights. The S-400 unit responsible for the launch was quietly relocated. Several officers were arrested for negligence, though insiders say they were just scapegoats. Behind the scenes, engineers from Sukhoi admitted what everyone feared. Russia's stealth identification technology was years behind NATO's. The US uses AI systems to prevent friendly fire. Russia still relies on manual confirmation and radio communication, an outdated method that fails in moments of high tension. The tragedy wasn't just a military failure, it was deeply human. Major Andropov was 38 years old, a veteran pilot with a wife and 2 children. His funeral was held in silence at a small military cemetery in Akhtubinsk. No media coverage, no public statement, no honor ceremony. Just a handful of pilots standing in the rain, saluting his photo. One of them whispered to a local journalist, "He didn't die in war. He died because our own system betrayed him." Those words spread quietly through Russian military forums, sparking anger and despair among soldiers who realized how fragile their defense network truly was. Western defense analysts compared the event to past disasters, like Iran's accidental shoot-down of a Ukrainian passenger jet in 2020. Same story, different country. Panic, secrecy, and fear of accountability. Russia joined that grim list in 2025, and while officials pretended nothing happened, the world saw through the silence. Even China, one of Russia's closest allies, quietly postponed a planned joint air exercise, citing technical safety concerns. The Ghost's destruction wasn't just a military embarrassment, it was a symbol of a broken system. In the following weeks, Moscow implemented new emergency protocols, forcing all stealth aircraft to maintain constant radio contact, even during covert operations. But experts said it wouldn't fix the core problem. The real issue wasn't the machines, it was the mindset. A military culture built on fear, obedience, and secrecy. Operators were too scared to question orders, too afraid to think, and that fear cost them one of their most valuable assets. The crash of the Su-57M exposed something far greater than a technical glitch. It revealed that Russia's so-called unbreakable air defense system was a house of cards. Billions spent on missiles, and radar couldn't stop human error fueled by poor communication and paranoia. The Ghost's destruction sent shockwaves through military circles worldwide. Analysts warned that if Russia's systems could fail this badly in their own airspace, what would happen in a real conflict against NATO? It was a wake-up call not just for Russia, but for the world. And so, at 3:47 a.m. on October 8, 2025, the sky over Belgorod told a story of failure, fear, and tragedy. A single missile launched by Russians ended the life of one of their own heroes. A billion-dollar jet turned to ash, a proud military exposed in front of the world, and a truth that no censorship could erase. The Su-57M ghost, once a symbol of Russian power, became a ghost in the truest sense, gone forever, haunting the very system that created it. Because sometimes, the most dangerous enemy isn't the one across the border. Sometimes, it's the one within.